Live.
Aloha, I'm Dr. Sasha Lesson. I'm here with my wife and partner, Janet Kira Lesson, and this is part 2 of our series called People of Earth. And this section is about our origins, especially of the planet Nibiru, which is the planet of our main ancestors, our main progenitors. She's pointing at something here. What are you pointing at? She was pointing at the next slide. And where we get this information is from Zechariah Sitchin. He read the clay tablets and cylinder seals that people from Nibiru, known as the Anunnaki, dictated. And Sumerians wrote about it around 2016 BCE. And it deals with events from 500,000 BCE on. And what we have here is a photo of Zechariah with a blow up of one of these itty bitty, the size of the palm of your hand, cylinder seals that the people of Iraq, who were called the Sumerians, some 6,000 years ago, rolled over clay. And he found a number of things that showed that there was this planet Nibiru they kept showing in our solar system, which you see circled there. And the story they tell is that their planet came through the inner solar system between Mars and Jupiter. And they recurrently came through there every 3,600 years. The Nibirans say that their planet was created Earth. It bumped their planet. Nibiru bumped into a planet called Tiamat, which used to exist between Mars and Jupiter, and knocked it into into a bunch of asteroids, and also into the planet that became Earth. Now Nibiru has these great big long orbits. It goes all the way around a red dwarf star called Nemesis, which is the remains of Sirius C. And for a long time, it crossed our inner solar system. We're between Mars and Jupiter every 3,600 years. But in 9,703 BCE, it got sped up. We'll get to that in a bit. So here's some pictures of Nibiru coming into our solar system, crossing the orbit right there. It never goes in any closer to the sun than that. And Nibiru is part of this larger system. Earth is our Solaris is a binary system with this Nemesis, which is the burned out part of Sirius C after it went nova. And so this system gets closer to Earth and everything gets hotter. And Nibiru, if you look at the little right-hand side, had lots of moons. It still has some with it. And we'll look at how this folds out. When Nibiru and its moons hit Tiamat, they knocked it into Earth and into the asteroids. And if you look at the diagrams here, you can it shows you what happens. Nibiru comes and hits Tiamat, and Tiamat gets shattered into these little pieces, the asteroids, and into Earth. It becomes Earth. And the Anunnaki were trying to communicate this to us in a crop circle. This is an exact crop circle from Avebury, showing exactly how Nibiru comes in and how that works. Now, this was confirmed by the supervising astronomer of the U.S. Naval Observatory, who plotted the course of Nibiru, and he observed it directly, and he had a talk with Zecharia Sitchin, which turns out he wasn't supposed to have. And he died mysteriously soon after that talk. But he did confirm that indeed there is this planet there, and the powers that be did not want that disclosed, but he disclosed it, and he died. Nibiru itself actually at one point hit the remains of Tiamat and knocked the big piece into Earth, as we said. And the big hit created a big hole we call a Pacific Basin. And it knocked all of the land masses all to one side of Earth. And this there's a lot of evidence for this, because the floor of the Pacific Ocean is way thin compared to how big the mantle is elsewhere. It's like 60 miles elsewhere, and it's 12 miles at the bottom of the Pacific Basin. So, but all the waters of Nibiru mixed with the waters of Earth, and so all the life forms that were potentially there in the waters of Nibiru also became part of the evolution on the planet Earth. In 9703 BCE, Nibiru and Uranus had a gravity pull with each other. As Nibiru comes in clockwise, all the other planets go around Solaris counterclockwise. And in this particular passing, Uranus came real close to where Nibiru was crossing, and their gravities interacted. Uranus got tilted, and Nibiru got sped, so that Nibiru comes by every 3,450 years. It's sped up, and forgot what I was going to say. When I was going to say, hey, you don't have to worry. It's not going to really come super close till 2,900 BCE, CE, and we ain't going to be around.
Not in this incarnation. Okay.
So here, let's look at Nibiru itself. Is this basically one great big continent, and the Nibirans don't call it Nibiru usually. They call it Sa'ami. But here's a picture of Nibiru with one of its moons, and a close-up of an artist's conception of what the planet, he thinks the planet looks like based on the description he got from the Sumerians. The Nibiru was settled by Lyrans, people who were fleeing from the Dracos who attacked their colonies in a Lyran group. And they, for a while, stayed in the Sirius system, where they said, we'll be your monarchy. After a while, the people of this monarchy decided they didn't want to be ruled by monarchs. And so the Nibirans left, and they made their way to Nibiru. On Nibiru, they got into huge wars, thermonuclear wars. There's a couple of their commanders. They wore these eagle helmets, and they're dropping nukes on each other, and they just about wiped themselves out. A lot of people became sterile. The men took many wives. The war was just making life extinct if they didn't do something. So they decided they had to do something about it. So the North and the South, which were warring with each other 650,000 years ago, they held a lottery, and a guy named A-N, won the lottery, and he gets to rule what's left of Nibiru, and he rules by decree. He appoints governors for the different areas. He was a military dictator, and the people that ruled his administrative areas, his satraps, were just all part of his military. His capital was called Agade, and they used pyramids to generate electricity, and they collected that in they used it to power their craft, and they pick it up in monoliths and it's their source of electricity, and they reduplicated that on Earth later on. Well, at a given point, about 600,000 years ago, Nibiru's volcanoes stopped spewing the ash, which had been giving their ionosphere cover from the cold as they traveled through far from Sun or Nemesis, or from the Sun as they got close to the Sun. But the volcanoes stopped going off, and so now Nibiru is getting too cold and then too hot. And the scientists said, "Well, you could do something about it." They told the king, the volcanoes aren't working anymore. Maybe if we drop some of our nuclear weapons we have left in the spaceships down the volcanoes, they'll start spewing ash again. And you try that. Or if that doesn't work, we could get gold. We know from our records there's gold in the in the asteroid belt, and also on planet Earth. We could get gold and refine it to powder, and it'll float up in the atmosphere. It'll hang out there, and it'll plug the hole. So the king listened to that, but he listened better to his wife. Lamaha said, "Hey, forget this scientific stuff. Just pray to the creator of all." They believed in the creator of all. "Don't act, just beseech the creator," she said. And King Lama listened to her. Well, things were getting worse and people were going to die. And finally, one of the princes, a guy named Alalu, said, "Hey, we're enough of this praying stuff. We got to take some action. Either try the two things with the volcano nuking or the gold or whatever it is." And the king said, "No, we're going to pray." And so Alalu threw Lama from a tower and yelled, "Now I'm the king." We're going to see what happens next in the next part of this series on people of the earth, our origins.
We'll be back. Do check out EnkiSpeaks.com, our website. And what's our last slide here? Oh, that's us. You can email me, janetlesson@gmail.com, and I will get back to you. Thank you for joining us this evening. Aloha. Mahalo.